Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode was brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play Team. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. Listeners should know that this podcast episode will include mature scenes and mature themes. This podcast episode uses the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game rules written by Matt Forbeck. All content, including names, places, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. And now, on to our show. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I am here not as your keeper, your handler, your storyteller, merely a player today, and I'm going to hand off this show to James, who's going to tell us what we're doing, and then we'll get back to me.
Howdy, folks. Tonight I will be your narrator. Enter the madness of the Marvel Multiverse RPG in a little shindig we like to call anger management. This is issue 5. Tonight, let's see who we have with us, shall we? To my right.
This is Alex playing Santos Ramirez, or Aguila, who is extremely calm and has no desire to rip anyone limb from limb.
Oh, no, absolutely no desire for that at all. And why would he? He's a very calm and laid-back individual. On the next uncomfortable metal chair.
Hi, this is Morgan. I play Dakota Daniels, otherwise known as the Violet Vixen. I like to punch people in the face and throw shit.
She really does. That's not a lie. Big fan. Next person around the curve under this flickering fluorescent bulb.
Hello, I am Rosie, she, her of Odd Duck Dice, and I am going to be playing Chase Blaze, also she, her, pizza delivery extraordinaire, and ghostwriter.
Lastly, in the circle, in this oh-so-dark space.
Yeah, hi, this is Mike, and tonight I'll be playing the one and the only Frank Castle, otherwise known as the Punisher, probably in the paper still dead.
As it turns out, yes, to everyone's knowledge, everyone, in fact, most of the people on the internet as well, Frank Castle died not long ago. Merely a year or so, maybe a little more. Time is fuzzy, right, Frank? It doesn't really mean a lot, especially when you spend most of your hours sipping coffee and waiting in a van outside of a house of a bunch of racist scumbags that you had told yourself you were saving for a Saturday night to, really just cut loose and have a little therapeutic fun. And as they say, shit went sideways. Not just a little sideways, but right at this moment, Frank, you are on foot. Let's back up a little bit, shall we? As you run, you go over the course of the last few moments of what has happened. You exited the back of said ramshackle house, which was a roaring bonfire, by the way. Gunshots and screams from inside. You came around the front of the house, carrying a little one over your shoulder to make sure, and shielded with your flak vest thrown up over him, I assume, to make sure that he's not hit by anything stray, just in case.
Yeah, 100%.
You get to the back of the van and spin around, deftly putting him down as the cops, you heard that voice. Frank Castle, don't move. It's the Chicago Police Department. And lights, 5 or 6 of them, erupted out of the various darkness pointed at you. These are tactical flashlights, underbarrel flashlights. Nothing big. These guys were trying to sneak up on you.
Okay.
As instinct, and since you have now put the kid somewhere that hopefully is going to be safe from what could very well be a dangerous situation, you do know that you have squirreled in each sleeve a flashbang, and so you, on instinct, toss them to the sides. Just out a little bit. They go off just a split second later. A series of white-hot flashes and deafening cracks that shatter windows nearby and disorient the now you see 5 or 6 officers surrounding you, or attempting to, as the smoke component goes off and begins to fill the air with a noxious, choking smoke. These are the good ones. You bought these on the, let's just say, the less than bright internet. via a connection of yours named Processor. Yeah, he got you these. They are actually, you don't want to say banned in the United States, but you don't really worry about those kind of laws so much.
No, needs must.
Someone in this now dense, choking smoke, you hear a couple of things. One, gagging and choking, and then, unfortunately, stray gunfire. The metal of the side of the van, you hear it puncture twice. Not far from you as stray bullets begin to fly roughly your direction. You also hear the sound of a moped fire up and drive away with all due haste. You've never heard anyone drift a moped before, but this one does in an effort to get away from this.
Yeah, I mean, if the kid is safe in the back of the van, then Frank's going to use this opportunity to break right or left and flee. Like, the kid is... I don't have time for the kid. The kid's safe. It's out of that house, out of that fucked up place. And what I need to do is get away. And so the flashbangs are the preamble to Frank hoofing it.
Very good. So you break right and collide with an officer, and you hit him like Terry Tate, office linebacker. And you put him down, as Frank is about 255 pounds of well-trained military muscle and hits the guy hard. You break into the trees surrounding this house. It's a pretty thick forested area that before it looks like it opens up into another main drag, we'll say. Not really main, but houses and gas stations and such. So you have quite a bit of fairly dense trees to try to lose these guys in. Make me a vigilance roll.
Okay. That is 16.
Fantastic. As you run, feet squishing into this wooded area here, you roll into a small alcove underneath some roots. Pull some brush down on top of you. You hear the heavy and clumsy jackbooted footsteps of the officers as they hut beside you. Since you rolled a 16, from your position here, these guys that run by are not wearing police issue uniforms.
Oh, really?
Not at all. They are wearing tactical gear, but they are not wearing police gear. And now that you have just a moment, you do realize that there was a lot of stray fire for those guys being cops.
Yeah. Also, somewhat interesting that they would ID me as the Punisher automatically.
It almost seems a little odd, maybe even set up or inside knowledge.
Yeah.
So Frank is laying here, this cold earth and water dripping down over his face. Not the most uncomfortable place he's ever been in. What's Frank thinking of doing right now?
Well, I think all these thoughts are going to be a little concerning, right? So if they aren't cops, then that means that kid is not safe, and that innocent has no reason to be on the field of battle. It's a kid. So if they ran the way they think that I went, then I'm going to double back to the van.
Waiting just a moment or two to make sure their footsteps recede off far enough that you're certain that you can get out. You roll out of your place and quietly make your way back through the forested area towards your van. It is a shambles, the van is. It's taken more than a few hits. Now, the upside is the kid is safe. He's just terrified, of course. The downside is that most of your equipment in the van has been ruined. The only thing that you can find in here that's going to be actually serviceable and hasn't been, it looks like maybe even maliciously wrecked by these guys, is an M249, about 4 clips of it. So,
okay, so an M249 is a saw, so that's a machine gun. But that's okay. They went off after me on foot. They assumed that they left their quote-unquote squad cars, yes?
They sure did.
Okay, how many are there?
2 black, unplated SUVs.
Okay. I pop the back of the van open and I look at the kid and say, "You wait right there. I'll be right with you."
He says nothing, just has big, watery, scared eyes.
I close the back of the van just slightly. I pull my combat knife out and I head over to those vans.
Okay.
And I'm puncturing tires.
Oh, easily. Your knife goes through this tire material like a hot knife through butter.
After that's set, are these SUVs open?
They are actually open. Guys don't seem to be particularly worried about someone taking their shit.
I'll take a real quick peek inside and see if I can ID it as anything. It's obviously not Chicago PD, so who is it?
You do a quick interior. Make me one more vigilance roll.
So that is a 12.
All right. After a few minutes of searching, you find a parking pass for a Roxxon facility downtown.
I take the pass.
Okay.
And then I head to my van and I get the hell out of here.
Okay. It still runs, even though the equipment has been pretty wrecked. And you drive back to, I suppose, one of your hideouts?
No, the first place I drive is a fire station.
Excellent.
Once I get to the fire station, I take the kid. I put the kid by the fire station front door. I ring the bell and I get in the car. I get back in the van and I drive away.
Okay. Frank drives away from the fire station, the light of the interior bay illuminating the small silhouette of this little kid holding a blanket as Frank drives away. Where is Frank headed?
Back to the hideout to take this ticket and do a little evidence reconnaissance.
Okay. So, Frank, you get done talking. You're sitting in that uncomfortable metal chair. You don't want to say your butt is a little numb, but it's a little numb. You look up across from you. The young woman that you saw come out of the house has been watching you, and you hadn't realized it, but you had actually been filling in parts of what had happened. In fact, you all realize that you have been adding little details of this evening in question. The gentleman with the clipboard turns to Dakota. Miss Daniels, what do you recall of the evening in question? You had said that you were worried that there was a young man that you had met, perhaps, tell me about the evening in question. Tell me more about that. You were looking for someone or something?
Ted? Are you talking about Ted?
Well, you had said that there was a group of people that you were looking for, or some, as you put it here, checks his notes. Group of bastards, those sons of bitches.
Oh, the assholes that did this to me. Yes. You see this? You see this as I point at my hair and my eyes? Not natural.
Of course, all of you notice that her hair is a violet purple, a deep purple, and her eyes are of a similar color. Her fingernails, similar color.
Yeah, purple is not my color.
On the evening in question, Dakota, you had been poring over this set of Roxxon paperwork that you had gotten through, we'll say, various unfortunate connections. All of our readers check last issue. You look over these unfortunate technical blueprints that do nothing but spark nastiness in your brain, painful little barbs of memories. Outside, not horribly far, you would say maybe 5 or 6 blocks away, you hear what sounds like either a large explosion or something being dropped, like something large and metal being dropped on the ground. But at this time of night, that is extremely loud. Considering how much you have gone through recently, you're starting to really doubt the whole concept of there being coincidence in the world. So before you can even check yourself, you find you are standing at your Venetian blinds. Frank, you are driving currently the van. Something underneath it is scraping. You are coming around the corner of a fairly, we'll not say unsavory, because it's not exactly like there's gang tags and stuff. It's more of a rundown, empty neighborhood full of apartment buildings, but it's mostly old factory buildings that really haven't done much. And there's like one semi-operational gas station that's old enough that you're not sure it has card swipes at the pumps.
Ah,
Kind of a deal.
certainly.
Yes. And as you pass it, something comes sailing out of the air like a ball of fire. And you're like 7 or 8 blocks away at this point, but you can see it in the rear view and collides with something right in front of the gas station.
Okay.
In the time it takes for your foot to land on the brake, as you, I assume, are just instinctively like,
Oh, yeah.
what, did somebody just shoot an RPG at me? Something else, something large and spindly lands, and you can just see it in silhouette. It looks like it has roughly humanoid proportions, and it begins attempting to claw at whatever fell down.
Okay.
And then a winged silhouette, you barely see it, snaps into and out of view, and the fire just shoots into the air. By this point, you have completely brought the van to a halt.
Oh, yeah.
Dakota, a van not far from your house comes to a screeching halt, literal screeching halt in the street outside, so much so that it ends up not exactly perpendicular, but a little kittywampus out in the road. Are you getting out, Frank?
Yeah, I think so. I think it qualifies as first class weird.
Okay. Yeah, something about this is raising the hackles on the back of your neck. You exit the van and turn back towards what's going on. You see something happening in the air above the building across the street from the gas station. There's something going on up there. In fact, as you're watching, you hear an ear-piercing shriek come from up there, and a few of the windows around you crack. The older windows in some of these buildings crack and or break. When that shriek happens, it sounds like an eagle cry, but much, much louder and at a pitch that causes even you to wince a little bit. Dakota, your window cracks. A big crack goes up the front plate glass.
Yeah, I roll my eyes, I suppose. And I open the window. I open the window and climb out on the balcony / fire escape. And I hop over the edge, the couple levels down.
2 things happen simultaneously, Frank. The whatever is flipping around in the air up there seems to strike whatever is, or not strike, or you're not sure what happens, but there's almost an explosion up there.
What kind of explosion?
It doesn't meet any kind of explosion you have ever seen. And that's saying something for Frank Castle. The winged, whatever it is, seems to in fact be having trouble, and both Dakota and Frank see this, getting away from the explosion for a moment. And then it finally seems to swoop down and light on the top of a building. The other thing that happens simultaneously as that is a loud thwomp on the ground behind you.
So like a body fall?
Yes, the superhero landing, in fact.
Oh, okay.
It's hard on the knees. There is a woman with purple hair that has fallen down over her face. T-shirt, jeans, boots.
And a pissed off look on her face when she looks up.
I really don't expect anything else at this point. Has anybody got a nice smile? A nice, cherubic smile and happiness glow?
Don't ask me to smile.
You two are now facing each other. Dakota, it's not hard for you to recognize who that is, even in this dim light. That man was famous. His name was all over the news a couple of years ago.
I look at him. Hey, aren't you supposed to be dead?
I don't say anything.
I just walk by him towards where the explosion came from.
Okay. She starts heading off towards the explosion, but she did just drop like 2.5 floors onto the ground without seeming any slowdown.
Yeah, she's a superhero. She's out to do superhero shit. Literally, that's what Frank thinks. Oh, okay. You're gonna go do superhero shit? You enjoy that.
What is Frank's response?
I think he's reasonably intrigued. There was an explosion. There was glass shattering. There was fucking American Eagle that screeched overhead. I don't know. I'm intrigued enough to figure out what the fuck's going on. So I'll shadow this purple-haired vixen.
All right. You heft your only available weapon, ATM, and begin following Miss Dakota towards this building. On the top of said building, Santos, when we last left you were currently looking for identification on the body of a person who just previously had a burning skull for a head and long burning chains wrapped around one arm.
Yeah, I had rolled back the helmet and the gauntlets so as not to inadvertently cause any injuries or scary. And I was trying to identify this person, but apparently they started waking up. So I was just there in kind of like a I'm about to touch you position.
Chase, you wake up with this, as you said, this mechanical helmet that has been kind of folded back. So it's more like a mechanical cowl now. And he is crouched over you as you are laying apparently outside on what feels like maybe a gravel road or roof, as all you can see above you is sky and buildings that are taller than where you're at right now. He seems concerned, but you don't immediately get a threatening presence from him directly to your person.
If she starts stirring, I freeze and just kind of stand there. And if her eyes open, I will kind of probably unconsciously roll the cowl back over because it's sudden movement. So it's like a armored beak helmet snaps into place, glowing blue eyes.
So that is what you in fact see, Chase. This person, he looks at you for a moment, shocked, and then in a metallic eagle head re-snaps and assembles itself around his head facing forward, with his face barely visible inside the mouth beak, or at least the lower half of his face, and big blue mechanical eyes.
Are you okay?
Go away.
I back up. You're the Ghost Rider, right?
Do I look like the Ghost Rider? Gestures down to, I think she was wearing shorts and a t-shirt with a band logo.
The shirt is fairly burned and singed around the neck area.
I will hold up a finger and I will allow the gauntlet to kind of encompass my right hand. And I will hold my palm up and I will project what I saw in kind of a little hologram so that she can see what I saw.
He replays a situation very similar to what I described to Mike and Morgan earlier. The ball of fire falling down out of the sky, something landing and attempting to eviscerate it. And then the camera flies in on whatever it is, scoops the burning head thing up, a burning skull, and scoops into the air, lands on the roof. Then the thing climbs up over the roof. This guy, from his point of view, fights it, grabs it, flies into the air, and then it ruptures like a leather sack filled with air. And the chunks fell down onto and around the roof. That kind of brings you up to the present.
Well, that's some superhero shit right there. I'm gonna go now.
Okay. If you're good, then you don't remember anything?
Whatever I remember is my business, not yours.
Look, I was just trying to help. I saw somebody in trouble, but hey, you seem fine. So, you're on the roof.
Oh, you know, I might need your help to get down there.
You sure? Because I can just leave.
No.
I open my wings up.
Okay. I'm sorry. Please help me get down.
I offer my hand. Look, you seem a little out of sorts. I'm not going to pretend to know anything about your situation, but if you don't know that your head catches fire, you might want to get that looked at. I offer a hand that's not gauntleted. It's a hand. It's a human hand.
She takes the hand and says, "Of course I know I catch fire. Of course I know I'm Ghost Rider. I just don't want to talk about it with some random metal chicken."
I pull my hand back. I am an eagle, ma'am. And I'm not random. I was chosen to wear this. Something random about it.
Dakota and Frank, you guys can hear this discussion going on from where you're at on the ground.
I wish I had like a hot dog or something like that. I've been doing a lot of running lately, so like I need to refuel at some point. I'm just kind of wondering, like,
Gas station is fairly open now.
it's also on fire, right?
Only the fire is mostly the dumpster area where it looks like a body impacted it.
Oh, so you're saying that the gas station's a dumpster fire?
Pretty much, yes. As most gas stations on the south side of Chicago are.
Hey, now.
Any gas station that charges that much is a dumpster fire. Besides, this is Lucifer's Lounge.
Yeah, no. As I said, I am watching this purple-haired superhero. I'm in recon mode, so like I'm not making any distinct movements other than just to basically pry into whatever the fuck's going on, because I need to figure out at some point who all the players are here in Chicago.
Okay. Dakota, are you going to use the opposite of how you got down from your apartment building to get up on the roof?
Yeah, can I check out why the dumpster area is on fire first before I jump to the roof? And
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you head over to the dumpster. It looks like that might have been that loud metal clang you heard. There's like about a body-sized impact dent in the side of the dumpster. And then it looks like something that was burning fairly hot was in contact with the contents of the dumpster briefly, igniting them.
is there a body there now?
No. Nope, nobody there now. There are 6 very thin, very sharp grooves cut through the metal and picked up what was ever laying there.
Well, awesome. Yep, so I will jump to the roof.
Okay. You see her take 2 hup, hup, and then she does another one of those superhero things and hops up to the edge of the roof, landing in a kind of a crouched position.
Yeah, well.
As that happens, I would be saying something like, "You can call me Aguila if you need to call me something. Do you need me to take you somewhere?"
If you could just get me down to street level, I can find my way home.
Something lands on the edge of the roof behind both of you.
Or not.
The eyes go immediately gold. Everything razors up. It gets gnarly immediately.
And he means everything.
Wings are out. Everything looks very spiky. What am I seeing?
Crouched and illuminated from the back by the burning dumpster is a woman with longish hair that seems to glint purple in what little light there is. Leather jacket.
I will blink and the eyes will go gold so that I can see a bit better.
So my eyes also glow purple as well, which is a secondary symptom of my current predicament. And so I hold up my hands at this winged dude. Simmer down there, Eagle Boy. I'm not going to hurt you.
The hell are you?
Dakota. I point at myself.
I'll kind of look over my shoulder at the former burning lady.
She's not mine. I still just want to leave.
I will
not
take 2
anybody's.
steps. I will take 2 steps back and kind of, again, retract the claws, and I'll kind of take the Ghost Rider by the wrist and just step off the roof and glide to the ground.
What the fuck is up with people? Yeah, I jump behind them. Yeah.
This is all very fascinating.
Right. Frank, while you are watching them go up and down from this building as if ladders and elevators did not exist, around because this building is on the corner of a 4-way, you're looking around the 4-way and make me a vigilance roll real quick.
Certainly, sir. Oh, that's one of those rolls. Like, I got a 1 on the marble die.
That's good. That's a fantastic roll.
Okay, so let's see here. Vigilance, you say?
Yes.
So, and I treat the marble 1 as if it's a 6, yes?
Yep.
Okay. With my vigilance bonus, 18.
Oh, fantastic. Frank, these streets, you're noticing 2, no, 3, 4. Son of a bitch, there's a lot of people suddenly out here. Silhouettes in the dark. None of them are engaging or getting into any of the light that this dumpster fire, literally behind you, or the street lights are providing. They seem to be avoiding the street lights, like the lit areas.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're watching these 3 talk, you're seeing, it looks like 6 or maybe more have started to creep up. Look like normal human silhouettes,
Okay.
but definitely moving in a manner that you as a trained soldier immediately were like, Blink, blink. Nope. Only one thing moves like that.
It's people. Okay, so we're ostensibly in an alley, a parking lot, somewhere near a street, yeah?
The four-way of, imagine one of the South Side neighborhoods. There's a gas station on one corner. Across the street from that is a building that they just came off of. On the third corner is a vacant lot. On the fourth corner, it looks like it's an closed for the night slot machine place.
Oh, odd for it to be closed, but I'm going to kneel down just real quickly and see if I can gather a couple of details about the location. Assumably, the people who are here who are trying to sort of interdict themselves in the situation, they're prowling for a reason because they're after someone. The question is who and why. I don't necessarily know if it's me, but I can't put it out of my mind that it might not be because I just left a scene with a bunch of people that were trying to fucking kill me too. So, it's a Tuesday.
Right. This is pretty par for your course, yeah.
I put my hand on the hilt, the pistol grip of Maria, and I wait.
They seem to be gathering. If you had to guess, you would say they were forming a perimeter that would include you and the other three people more towards the building across the street.
Oh, okay. So we got certifiable dumbasses. Sure thing.
Meanwhile, those three people across the street who are being exceptionally quiet, let's go back to the three of you, shall we?
As I set her on the ground, I will say, look, I don't know what that thing was that attacked you. I think it's gone, but do you have any idea what it was or where it came from?
No. Nope, not really. It wanted whatever lights my spark, and I said no, and it got mad, and then I got mad, and now I'm here. So, synopsis done, and she makes finger guns at you guys. She's like, and I'm going home now because I'm late for work.
Okay. Good luck.
Chase, as you turn, you look around and another thing occurs to you. You're not entirely certain where in town you currently are.
Oh, fuck. And she raises her arms and
Also, you don't have a wallet or shoes.
Or my keys. Or my fucking keys.
Oh, you have your keys. You have your keys because you have your keychain.
Okay. That's a start. And she starts walking away, realizes she's utterly lost, throws up her hands and just starts cursing like a sailor, and turns back around to you guys and says, I have no idea where it dropped me.
Well, this is 84th.
Yeah? Okay. I'm gonna start walking.
That's a long walk from where you live.
I hate this thing. I hate it. And she starts walking and is too pissed off with the situation to ask for help, but makes a mental note to yell at what the spirit in her head later about, maybe not stranding her somewhere in nothing but her pajamas.
As Chase steps on something and then curses even more, and Santos and Dakota, you're now standing side by side watching Chase slowly walk away, or attempt to, and both of you can make me vigilance rolls.
So I have edge on vigilance checks to perceive things, and enemies have
you do.
trouble to sneak past me, whatever that means.
Very good. Yes, so you know how edge works, right? Okay, the trouble is the opposite. When they roll a die to detect you, they have to re-roll the highest die and take the lower of the two rolls. You can have stacked trouble and stacked edge.
Well, that's fun.
More than 1, 2, or 3 dice.
So I got a 19.
All right. Dakota, how about you?
I get a 17.
In your case, Aguila, you see them highlighted. Your HUD display pops up with errant energy signatures of a recently cataloged type. And Dakota, your hackles, they start dancing all over the back of your neck. There's something about that purple energy that crackles over you just briefly. And the way there's silhouettes. There's now one in the street and you see one on the sidewalk near a building. And there's something about them that is very, very, very wrong.
So you're saying they're the same gooey, gnarly stuff?
They are roughly humanoid shape. at this moment, but as they move, the one in the street begins to elongate, much like the one that you saw previously. As it walks, it seems to treat joints and bone length as a suggestion, not as a set kind of a thing.
Dakota, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cover your ears.
You see similarly, there are the figures as you are seeing them are starting to move in such a way as some of them you thought were just shadows maybe because of the way they lengthen as they move. And then you say, cover your ears, Aquela?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I do so.
These things seem to react pretty poorly to howling. So hopefully Chase is more than 10 squares away at this point.
She's not.
Oh, well. Sorry. I am definitely going to screech at these things, for sure.
Alrighty, please do.
It's a weapon. 20 with a Marvel die. That's a fantastic.
Fantastic result. Okay. You focus your screech using the HUD and zero in on whatever the shape of this thing is. Now, Chase, the air rushes by you in a column, and you don't hear most of the screech because it's actually outside of your hearing range, but what you do hear makes your right ear tingle in a way that ears shouldn't tingle. You really hope you're going to get better from that because suddenly it's hard to hear out of that ear. But the shape in front of you, you hadn't noticed as you were busy picking your way, not stepping on broken glass and walking over gravel and such, being barefoot. You look up and see that there's a person shape that's more putty and fluid than a person shape should be. And much like the last one that you saw, it seems to be moving towards you, not just you, but your group. And as it moves towards you, it lengthens, like its arms lengthen, and as it uses its arm to propel itself forward gorilla style. And then that column of acoustic air hits it, and its form ripples and seems to discorporate, deflates like a bag. It doesn't seem to be dead. It just seems to be thoroughly stunned, if you will. The Dakota, you see that this form of this person in the dim light, the skin seems to deflate like a skin suit that had all of its supports instantly removed. When it deflates, it only motionless for a second before it seems to be starting to re-inflate itself and push itself up out of this pile of skin substance that it's made of. Claws first, almost like it's pulling itself up out of a hole. You see another one step out into the street behind it. Santos, you're going to need a moment or two to recharge that before you can do it again.
Question for you, James. Do I hear this sound?
Oh, yes. It's impossible to not hear this sound. It's like 190 decibels. So it's like window rattling, high-pitched. In the immediate vicinity of you, Dakota, and such, it's good that you have like an improved durability because, ow. And nearby glass, just tiny pieces.
So the glass just totally shatters.
Oh, yeah.
So we hear this sound collectively. Some of us hear it at other angles, but we hear the screech.
Yep.
And then we hear shattering and all.
100%, yes. And thank you. That is absolutely fantastic. As the windows around you burst outward and land on the ground. I love that.
Fabulous. Okay. Gone out.
All right. Are you making a expeditious movement to get maybe closer to the other people?
No, not just yet. I want to pay attention to the combatants that I've seen that they haven't.
All right. Of the quick scan, you see 4 moving. It looks like 2 of them are moving towards you, and the other 2 are moving more towards the group.
Oh, that's okay. I've got bullets for everybody. It's kind of how Frank's built.
All right. Yeah, they seem to be moving up. They don't seem to be moving in a way that they're being especially stealthy, but there is definitely, they don't want to be seen right away.
Okay. Well, I'm not familiar how rounds work in this.
Let's roll some initiative. In fact, that is a very good idea. You have your initiative modifier. You make a roll.
13 for Aquila.
14 for Dakota.
11.
Frank goes on 17.
Since this is a comic book, right? So we can totally dialogue mid combat because there has to be word bubbles.
Please do.
And I'm going to turn to Dakota and say, these things are strong and hungry. Really hungry.
What? What?
They're hungry!
The first in the order would be Frank. Frank, tell me a little bit about your day. And by your day, I mean, what are you doing right now?
Oh, well, my plan is to test their substantial fortitude, perhaps, in a way. This is perfect for me because what I see is a bunch of silhouettes, which looks a shitload like a fucking shooting range.
It absolutely does.
So my analog is right here. As I pull out I clear Maria from my jacket, I can begin doing what Frank does best, which is breathing and pulling triggers.
Very nice. You pull out Maria and begin to fire.
Yep.
All right, then please do make me some fire as an agility, I believe.
It sure is. I'm going to use snap shooting, though.
Fantastic.
And that's going to allow me to split my attack. So the idea is to be able to put a few more rounds down range. I make a single agility check and compare it with the target's agility defenses. On a success, the affected target takes half regular damage. On a fantastic success, the affected target takes full damage and is bleeding. But I'll get to make 2 separate attacks.
Fantastic.
I love my agility. Have I ever said that? So, it's a 21.
Oh, that's an agility attack, right?
It is, yes.
A 21? Okay, yes, you are more than sufficient to hit, sir.
Okay.
On the first one.
And the attack is also considered damage in this, right?
Yes, you take whatever the Marvel die is, and you apply it, in this case...
To the multiplier there?
Yep, the multiplier. You apply it to the multiplier, and then you add your ability bonus. Yeah.
Got it. So 26.
So 26 damage? Okay.
If there is damage reduction, it would apply to the multiplier.
Yes, it does apply to the multiplier.
Okay.
So what was your...
So my multiplier is 6.
Is 6? Okay. There is damage reduction on this of 2.
Okay.
So your multiplier is now 4.
Okay, so that's 20.
20? Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
So yes, you pull Maria and drop 2 shots easy into this first shadow. It recoils as initially as you had hoped it was going to. The light that belches from the barrel of Maria just instantly illuminates this thing in the darkness, and it looks like a stretched, taffy version of a human. There are no eyeballs. The sockets are empty, and the mouth is far too wide. The mouth doesn't seem to end at the jaw hinges. In fact, it seems to curve back around, and as it opens its mouth was open while the flat muzzle flashes happen. It has rows, you think, of piranha-like teeth, whatever these are. And the first one, and that's to each one?
Yeah.
Okay. One of them, the first one, looks like maybe at one point it was a soccer mom, because it's dressed in that, like a sweatshirt that has kind of a pastoral scene on it and a pair of jeans and some sensible shoes that are currently being stretched and deformed by its form. And the one behind it was wearing, it looks like a Cubs shirt and gym shorts and flip-flops. Or it was, as they're, again, being deformed and shredded by these forms.
Frank will mutter, I've seen a ton of shadows in my life, and you're no different. So I'll use fast hands to attack again.
Oh, wonderful. Excellent. Fast hands.
It's a... Yep, I can shoot 1 additional reaction per round. So we'll do that. Oh, and that is a fantastic success. So hang on a second. This is going to get real interesting.
So the multiplier is 4.
Yep. So the actual attack is, if it matters, I guess.
Yeah.
Is 24.
Oh, yes. You definitely hit.
Yeah. So 4, 24. So that's 30 with the multiplier taken into effect.
30 damage?
Yeah.
And which one do you fire on? The first one or the second one? Which one gets a double tap?
Probably the first one.
First one? Okay. It now has 2 large gaping holes as it is advancing towards you. This one has gotten now, I won't say fairly close, but close enough that as it's approaching you, you can see the holes where you have fired into it are pulling the skin leather inwards, or whatever they're made of, inwards, as if there's a suction to it. And you see the smoke of the dumpster fire is also being drawn into those holes, as well as into the eyes and mouth of this creature.
Okay, I don't know if it makes a difference in your calculation. I'm still working through like all of Frank's various powers.
Right.
I can spend 5 focus to use stopping power, and because it was a fantastic success, I could potentially make it deals double damage.
Oh. If you would like to, you can spend the focus to do that.
100%.
Okay, then we will say that the second shot you decide to put it dead center in its face, and the same description happens, only its face falls apart like a house of souffle cards in a hurricane. It collapses inward. And as it collapses, it doesn't deflate like you would expect it to. It ruptures. And when it ruptures, it draws everything towards it with an intense amount of force. You actually have to reach over and grab the light pole next to you as you feel it definitely shift your body weight more towards the rift that it makes. And this all happens in this span of being able to pull the trigger like 3 times. Pop, pop, pop. Yeah. Dakota, 3 gunshots go off down the street, not far from you. Now, this is Chicago, so I mean, that's not...
It's not unusual.
So what are you doing, Dakota?
So I did see the weird outline of the shadow creature, right?
Oh, yes. It is almost impossible to... In fact, Santos, although you usually work in the darkness, do you have an illumination unit on your...
Oh, hell no.
I didn't figure you would.
Eerie glowing eyes is all I got.
Okay. So in the very dim light of the few working streetlights and the eerie glowing eyes from this metal man next to you, this partially metal man next to you, yeah, you see these twisted, putty-like forms.
Is there any of those forms that are up against another building or near another building, like a wall?
The one that's across the street is closer to the building that's over there, which is looks like a closed slot machine place.
Wonderful. I will grab the burning dumpster and throw it at it. The burning dumpster fire.
Okay, so you'll have to spend your move to get over to the burning dumpster to grab it, but then you can use it the rest of your attack to chuck the dumpster as a agility attack, okay?
Okay.
All right. So Dakota turns on heel and taking a few supercharged steps that make it kind of look like she's on the moon, she lands next to the dumpster, or half jump, I guess. Frank, because you're not too far from this, you see her grab the corners or the edges of this dumpster and curl the corner of it like you were curling a box to make it easier to carry. And then she picks it up and then hefts it at this creature and makes me an attack roll. You know what? Because it's a burning dumpster and you've never thrown one of these before, I am going to give you a trouble on 1 die because it's a dumpster that's on fire.
Yeah, well, this roll sucked anyways. You said I was doing agility. Like catch on fire. So it's an agility roll, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I got a 3 on the marble, but so altogether I got a 10.
A 10, okay. You throw the dumpster at this twisted, leathery creature, and because it's quite a heft, it's much hotter than you had anticipated when you pick it up, and you've never really thrown anything that's burning and shifting weight inside like this. Yes?
Sorry. So I would like to, as a reaction, use my help teammate action. which can only be triggered when a teammate fails an action check.
Excellent. Thank you.
The effect is the teammate gains an edge on that action check. So what I'm going to do basically, when I see that thing careening in the wrong direction, I'm going to buffet it with both of my wings as hard as I can in the right direction.
Okay. All right. So you're kind of giving it an overhead, almost a crowd surf aid to go where it needs to.
Mm-hmm.
She provided the forward momentum. You're just giving it a little guidance.
Her cream was off.
All right. Well, then you now have edge on the roll. There, Dakota. So take your roll at lowest die and roll it again and take the higher of the two rolls.
Wait, you want me to take my lowest die and roll it again?
Yes. You re-roll your lowest die.
My 1. Yeah, let me
yes. Definitely re-roll a 1.
I got a 5.
Okay, so what's your new total?
So my new total is 14.
All right. So with the aid of this Birdman, the metal wings essentially just reach up and very, very gracefully brush the dumpster as it goes by to make it just turn a little. Sometimes it's not about force, it's just about applied force. And it, in exchange, does in fact collide with this thing. So go ahead and roll your damage. The multiplier on this one is going to be a ×3 because it's a dumpster. God, I love saying things like that.
It is a 8.
Sweet. All right, so it definitely hits Chase and Santos. You see this dumpster collide with this form, pressing it up against the wall. It scatters burning garbage all over the street here, but while that's not smelling the most pleasant, it does seem to give you a small advantage in that the street is now fairly well illuminated with burning garbage. So you can see these two leathery figures as they approach you. In your cases, one of them looks like he was maybe a cop or a security guard. It's hard to tell as it twists and moves towards you. And the other one is even worse. That one looks like it's nude, and the only identifying mark is the fact that its head has been shaved and there's a fairly large Y incision on its chest and down to its abdomen as they are coming towards you. The one that looked like it was a security guard or a cop is coming towards you. The one that was naked is currently pinned between a burning dumpster and a wall.
Wait, who is it going towards?
I assumed you were throwing it at the one that was currently standing. The security guard is the one that was going towards Chase.
Oh, okay.
That was the one that Santos blasted with his audio attack and made all disrupted. And that was the one that had to claw its way out of being a puddle of leathery skin flaps.
Stunts are pretty awesome.
Flaps. So Dakota, having thrown a dumpster, relinquishes the baton, as it were, to Aguela.
So I would like to follow up the Screech. I'm going to leave the nudist corpse to my new purple buddy over here. And I'm going to follow up. I mean, that the cop's asking for it. And
right.
He's just now getting up. So I would like to close the distance between. Now, I've dealt with this thing before. I'm not happy about it.
Right.
I think I have a pretty good idea as to how to deal with this thing. Mm-hmm. So my plan is to rush it. Like I'm going to charge it.
Right.
And I'm going to charge it claws first and drive it into the ground.
Okay.
But I'm not going to stop moving.
Okay. You're not going to stop moving.
So I'm going to drag it with my claws in it, pinning it to the ground.
So you're going to cheese grater it with concrete and your claws.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
That's the
right.
plan.
Okay. So you're using basically your movement and your attack at roughly the same time, essentially. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
This will distance you from Dakota, obviously, and put you much closer to where Chase is at.
Yeah.
Actually, a little further out from that. So you go ahead and make me your melee roll, sir.
Yep. I will use my focus fury. I'm going to focus my fury.
I believe they're called equal powers.
I'm going to splatter the fuck out of this thing.
Okay. The fact that you are playing a person.
So I can spend 5 or more focus on this. I will be spending 10.
Oh.
We've done this before.
Yeah, you've done this before. All right. You sink your claws in and make your roll.
My roll. It is A 17, fantastic. So that's 84 damage. Well, you said it's -2, right? For the...
Yeah, the multiplier's at -2.
But because it's a fantastic, I can now use Exploit. The trigger is a fantastic success on an attack using a character's weapon that deals at least 1 point of damage. Got it. I have to spend another 5 focus.
Okay, so that's 15.
That's 15 focus spent. And this is, I make a melee attack against their resilience score. And if it's a success, it ignores health damage reduction. And on a fantastic, it's double damage. So let's make the roll.
All right, make that roll. As you sink your claws into what you only guess can be a critical area in this thing.
It's only 84 damage, not double.
Oh, well, damn. And by that, I mean, holy crap. Okay, please make me a resilience roll then, as you have rended this thing even faster than the last one you rended.
Yeah. 17?
All right. You know, as you sink your claws into it and rend it, you know that it's going to rupture, much like the last one did. And as you are getting away, the draw isn't difficult to get away from because you have the hand and toe claws, so you can literally just sink them into the pavement and not go anywhere. But it seems as though it fatigues you, and it draws another 3 points of focus out of it.
Okay. So that's what that feels like.
Yep. Dakota and Chase, you see him as he rends this thing. There's this almost kind of wafting energy that is pulled out of him and into this void before it seals itself. Aguila, that was you. You are not stunned, but you definitely waver on your feet for a moment. You see him, and your HUD blinks momentarily, as if it was drawing all sorts of energies out of you.
Oh, shake it off.
This flaps of leathery skin float to the ground as the one behind the dumpster pushes the dumpster off of it. Not hard enough to use it as an attack or anything, but it is no longer pinned on the wall and uses its move to leap across the road and towards Chase, who is the nearest opponent who is not covered in metal things. All right. As bad guys are not allowed to fantastic failure, it is in fact just 3 ones. It is absolutely horrific. Okay, so it leaps out and is still on fire and lands with a sickening thud in front of you, the whole flesh of it shifting slightly, and it is stunned, not prone, but stunned currently. So that one doesn't do pretty much anything at all as it's trying to collect itself. Frank, the 2 that you have lit up now advance on you. Only the one that's closest to you that has the fairly large holes in it gets close enough to do anything.
Okay.
And it makes a melee attack roll. Does a 12 hit you, sir?
I don't know. Let me see here.
Melee defense score.
Melee defense. 12 does hit me, yes.
All right, so it does hit you. It does 9 damage to you, sir.
Okay.
As these needle-length, razor-sharp claws rake down across you and manage to actually do a fairly, not a large amount of damage, but damn if the wounds don't hurt more than they should. Out of the darkness, Frank, you see that there is at least 2 more on the streets here, other than the 2 that are not currently really being dealt with from where you are at. The one behind the one you were shooting at moves up towards you, and they all take this movement to kind of close in. Not completely, but all of you now see in the burning light of the scattered garbage and this dumpster and the few lights above you that there are about 6 of these things out on the street, and they seem to be gathering around you fairly menacingly. Santos, your helmet is charging up currently. Chase, you...
She's going to glance at a bit of broken mirror or broken glass, and just like she did in the mirror earlier, she's going to have that sort of mental conversation with the, I guess we'll call it the rider, or the hitchhiker.
The hitchhiker spirit?
Yeah.
The rider spirit. It looks at you in the mirror in this reflected piece of glass.
If I let you drive, you have to drop me off at my apartment. Not some random street, my apartment.
Santos and Dakota, you can hear her saying this as she's looking into a window next on one of the pieces of glass that's still attached to the frame. And then slowly her head nods as if she's agreeing to what the conditions that she has set out. And then there's a bright ball of white light. Her head is engulfed in flames, is now a burning skull, and the keychain that she was holding that had the little personal protection spiky thing on it lengthens out to be a long spiked burning chain that whips almost like a cattail once or twice. All right, Ghost Rider, what are you doing?
Well, let's see.
It's a deep subject.
It is. It is a deep subject. Let's start big, because why not?
Why not?
And let's do the blast then. And... Oh, actually... So how many of them are actually in front of Ghost Rider right now?
There is pretty much just the one with the Y incision that's in front of near you.
Well, then we'll just blast it.
Okay.
No reason to,
No reason to be fancy.
No reason to be
putting on
super
airs.
fancy. Yeah, blast it. And
It's your highfalutin attacks and whatnot.
nah. So then I will roll and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure I don't have any helpful edges. So that's a 15.
All right. That does hit. What is the damage there?
Okay, now we get fun.
You take your Marvel die, whatever the result in your Marvel die was.
Yes. So it was a 4.
Okay.
And now I'm going to spend, let's do
It's Hellfire Blast, right?
10.
For an additional 5 points of damage?
Yeah. No, let's do, how squishy do I think this is? I think, brain. Just spend the 10 for the extra 5.
Okay.
Plus 1 agility damage for every 2 points of focus. Is that how that doesn't make sense?
Yeah, so you have to spend 5 to do the thing, and then everything
Yes, I
you
did
spend
that.
after that. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you can spend up to if you're rank 3, you can spend 15 per turn.
Yes.
So you can spend another 10 for 5 more damage on top of your agility bonus.
Okay, great.
So you spend 15 total
Yes, thank you.
to do an additional 5.
Thank
Gotcha.
you, yes.
Yes. All right. So you spend 15, you do an additional 5 damage with the elemental blast. And what Dakota and Santos see is she rears back this chain and whips it forward, and it snaps at the Y incision corpse one with a disgusting sizzling pop and does a pretty gross wound up its front, unlacing some of the finer sutures in the Y incision and such, and setting it on fire. So,
Except now I would suggest that it's not just on fire, but it also smells like rotten egg.
yeah, rotten burning egg and garbage, and that stink surrounds you. Out of the darkness, Frank, you see that there is at least 2 more on the streets here, other than the ones that the 2 that are not currently really being dealt with from where you are at. The one behind the one you were shooting at moves up towards you, and they all take this movement to kind of close in. Not completely, but all of you now see in the burning light of the scattered garbage and this dumpster and the few lights above you that there are about 6 of these things out on the street. And they seem to be gathering around you fairly menacingly. Santos, your helmet is charging up currently. Chase, you are watching these writhing sacks of flesh as they reform into creatures that you already know how nasty they are. Dakota, this thing got hit with a burning dumpster and is still moving. Well, Frank, you can put holes in it all you want, but it doesn't seem to be helping as much as it usually does. And in that smoky, burning garbage of an evening, I'm going to leave you guys there for the time being. Alrighty. Thank you guys for joining me. I thoroughly enjoyed this evening, issue 5 of Anger Management. And I hope to see all of you next time. I would like to hand it back to Mike for our closer here.
Yeah, so thanks, James. We appreciate it. And I enjoyed, and I know that the cast enjoyed stopping in and having another Marvel night with you. So I'm certain there's more Anger Management to come. So if you're enjoying James and the cast and I working through some back issues, let us know in the comments. And we'll see you next issue.